Day 84. Welcome to This Is Not Advice. You've got Min and me, Roy, here from Bloomberg Beta talking about your questions about work. And this week we've been talking a lot about like political, ethical lines and how you want to get involved, if at all. And today's question is kind of personal for me, actually, Roy.
I love that. It's a change of pace. I'm nervous. Now I'm actually not answering somebody else's question out there. It's you. I'm like a little scared.
Yeah, and it's like a version of I work in tech. I've voted, I've donated to causes I care about, and I've signed petitions. Do I need to do more? And this came about because I think I was having several conversations over the course of the last couple of weeks with friends who, have amazing tactical suggestions around, volunteering at a phone bank or writing letters to your senators or, raising money amongst your friends. And they're all really awesome efforts. And there's a part of me that felt, I think, really kind of drained in a way of like, oh my gosh, they're like, how much will this matter in the grand scheme of things? Right. I've done my civic duties. What else do I need to be doing?
The answer is you're good. And the longer version of that answer is, to me, I think like, I'll speak for myself. Why do I choose, or why does one choose, generalize it, to be civically active? And in particular, I think there's an important context that's work related, which is, we talked about this earlier this week, the more civically active you are, in some ways it does trade off with your ability to focus on your job. And there are ways in which they contribute to each other. They make you a whole person. You may learn things through those activities that help you at work, but like anything, it's true within limits. And if you're phone banking all day long when you should be programming or something like that, then clearly you're not doing your job. So it's a timing and dosage thing. And the question is starting with why. And if your reason why is I wish to feel like I've done my part as a responsible citizen, I think that's a totally valid reason. And the only person who can define that is you. Second, you can then think, well, what's appropriate to me given where I am in my life right now? Which is like, look, you got parents with young kids, you got people with roommates trying to figure out how to make their life work. Look, there have been times in my life where my priority was like, I would rather have, like had dinner with my wife than done some volunteering. In fact, I still prefer to do that. So recognizing that is important. And then recognizing the last thing I just say is different ways of contributing feel different and have different value to you. So, you gave the example of phone banking. Well, phone banking can be wonderful. You're talking to real voters. I mean, it's like doing customer service in some ways, and like the Amazon thing about how Jeff Bezos always does customer service. But you can also feel like, why does it matter that it's me, especially if you're text banking? It like literally people in tech are like, this could be a bot that is doing this text banking. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means it has a different kind of like when I go to a food bank with my family, which we do once a year roughly with our school, it's like, could it be anybody else? Yeah, but it's important to me that it's me. And then you have ways of contributing that feel more unique to who you are. Well, it's a community you're tied to. Or, a lot of software developers like, how do I volunteer on a campaign? And there are organizations like Ragtag or Tech for Campaigns that let you do that. And the thing I'd say is, oftentimes our civic work is less rewarding than our professional work because the benefit feels so diffuse. So you're like, yeah, I know I showed up at that march, but like, did it matter that I was there? Maybe it felt good, but I don't know what the outcome was. And you can participate civically in ways that feel unique to you and where you're moving the needle, but it takes time and effort. The same way it took you time and effort in your day job to know how to have an impact. Like, you're not going to show up on day one and be like, I'm a VC, I'm going to know about investing. I'm going to tell you how to invest your dollars in ad campaigns or something like that, because providing value is so circumstantially attuned to the context. You have to know the context to be able to provide value. A lot of people get deterred. And so I guess it's a long-winded way of saying, another reason you might enjoy this stuff is because you learn how to be more effective. I mean, even, Paul Graham was tweeting like, when I first started giving against Trump, I didn't think I was very good at it. Now I've gotten better. It's like, yeah, that's a reason to engage, is so that you can get better at engaging because it's rewarding and it's a good thing to do as a citizen. And then the last thing I'd say is tough talk from me saying, you've done enough, in the sense that like, I'm literally, this is my last thing before I go pack up the car with my family and we're going to Wisconsin, where I will do my day job from Wisconsin while doing all I can on the election. But that is, I mean, I also had times I worked in government and barely made it to the polls one year. So there is no right answer. I do think it's a moment in the United States, at least, and maybe in the world, that calls many of us to see the problems and wish to do something about them and weave them into our lives. I think most people I know are feeling something like that. And then the question is the skill of how, of doing it in such a way that you feel like it's worth your time and effort and you feel fulfilled by it. And that is a process of timing and dosage and learning.
Totally. That was actually really helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
For me, and probably, hopefully, many others who kind of are in this position of like, I don't know, I have there's like 14,000 things that you could care about. And then how do you decide?
Well, that too. And as you know, I mean, for folks who are kind of emerging leaders in the tech industry, we have a community that we run with Stanford called First Principles, where we learn together how to give philanthropically. I'm part of more of like a leadership group of tech leaders who are all trying to educate ourselves civically, the Council on Tech and Society, and that's been really good. But it's a progression of learning, and we all go through it and help each other out. And I'll just say, if folks want to respond on Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, thank you, Henry Wong, for saying you're a fan and considering being a broadcaster. We are broadcasters. This is the future. Min is a broadcaster. I'm a broadcaster. No, just I think Bloomberg might not be so happy if we showed up on CNN. But I'm happy if people, one of the things I love doing is if people in tech are like, hey, I want to engage and I can't quite figure out how can I? I'm always happy to give people hypotheses. And look, the project that I launched in my personal time, this Walk the Vote project of trying to get people out to the polls by doing local voting parades. It's a nonpartisan project that lots of us in tech came together. And a founder who we invested in previously is the guy leading software for putting the site together. We haven't worked together in years, but it's just an example of ways you can craft a sort of engagement for yourself. Last thing I just say, tech in particular has an awful version of this problem, but everybody has it to some degree, which is people think the thing I'm working on, by virtue of the fact I'm working on it, must be the best and most important thing. How many tech people I have seen be like, this is the way to shift the country. And it's like, the refreshing thing is thinking from first principles and thinking anew. The annoying thing is not having any knowledge and being totally wrong. So think from first principles and be right. That's the way to move the needle.
That's the this is not advice for today.
Know enough to be right. That's not advice.
We'll be back tomorrow, and
seriously,
from the road. If you have other questions on this topic or others that you want us to address, shout, you can find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever we're on social. Let us know. And we are good for today. Thanks, Roy.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you tomorrow.